Good afternoon. My name is Paul, and I'm joined here by Murlock this afternoon. So first of all, Murlock, welcome and thank you very much for speaking to me.
Thank you, Paul.
Just first question, what stimulated your interest in deregistering?
Corruption. Personal corruption. I attempted to protest Irish Water in a way that I believed was honourable, and I just came across the elements of the state that treat anyone who protests accordingly, and that is just to abuse you and harass you and badger you and bully you. So yeah, I that's what stimulated my interest in the subject.
And when did you realise that being on the electoral register is connected to this corruption?
2015. 2015, I remember it because that was when I was being abused for protesting Irish Water, and I realised something's not right here, you know, because I was being honourable, I was trying to do what was right, and I just realised that I was being abused with the power of the electorate, because that's where the state gets its power from, and in turn then they turn that on the people. So yeah.
Yeah. Again, just for the listeners and the viewers, just can you explain what is the electoral register, or how does it apply in Ireland?
Whoever arrives at the age of 18 is offered to register themselves to vote. They've already been through the schools, or they've been programmed to believing that it's such an honour and a privilege to do so. So they leave school and they register, and they do so freely. So that's where it comes from.
And in your opinion or your belief, when people go on the register at 18, who are they actually registering towards, or to what?
They're signing power of attorney over to a de facto state so that they can be legally represented by whoever they choose to represent them. So
you talk about the state, and again maybe in the last number of years, are you talking the 26 county state? Are we talking the 32 counties of ERA, or are we talking, is Ireland or ERA, are we still connected to the British Crown, or what's your understanding of that?
ERA is ERA and always has been. ERA is the ground we stand on. ERA is an island, all 32 counties. Anything to do with Ireland, Republic of Ireland, Ireland full stop, anything to do with Ireland is Crown Corporation. It's registered company. So only ERA is the land we stand on. That's our correct name.
Yeah, so just again before we go into the logistics of it, so if we're on the electoral register, we're on the register of is it the British Crown Corporation, or is it the Ireland, or what would you...
Yeah, it's all British Crown. It's all British Crown. Anything to do with Ireland is British Crown. It's their title. ERA is the name of our land, and that's what we have to return to. You should take offence to anybody referring to you as a citizen of Ireland. You should take offence to that. It's not a very glamorous thing to be called. But you are, and
why should people take offence to that? Why should Irish men and women take offence to that?
Well, to be a citizen is to be the lowest rank of the state. You're just the bottom. So you know you're being ruled as a citizen. So I would say to people, and I'd say to you, Paul, you are a native man of ERA. Is that not more accurate? Would you not be more happy with that title? Or not title, but that definition?
Absolutely.
Yeah, me too. That's what I am, and I'd give anybody 28 days to rebut that statement. I'll put it out there for and on the record. Now, I'm a native of ERA, and I'd like to also put out for and on the record that I rescind, I revoke, and I repudiate the offer of citizenship. You cannot force me to be a citizen. It's by consent, and I'm not interested. I've had 50 years of it now, and that's enough.
Yeah, so would you, before we do it again, so would you advise maybe, or suggest to men and women, and not persons, I believe there's a difference in persons, that men and women, that our ultimate goal should be to be national men and women of ERA, that would be would that be in your opinion, the goal to be aimed for?
Absolutely, and absolutely is an awful word also. Yeah, I mean, as a native, as a native of your land, you have rights. You have, this is your land. This is, as a citizen, you have nothing. You've signed over power of attorney. You've signed over everything you register. You've given to the state, your children, everything. You don't own anything. You don't even own your name. You have permission to use the person that created for you. It's a scam. It's an absolute scam. And by the way, there's nobody that can save you in this scam. There is nobody to come along and save you. The state is a three-part state. Two of the parts are permanent, and they're called the permanent government. They are the judiciary and about 400 ironically named senior civil servants. That's the permanent government, and you get to choose their puppets every 4 or 5 years or so.
Yeah. Now, just go back to the logistics of if somebody is on the electoral register and they want to deregister from it. So, from square one, how would you go about this if they're over 18 and they want to deregister? The logistics of it. Could you maybe explain that in?
I could. I was of the opinion that I was deregistered myself, and I'd received confirmation that my name had been removed from the register. But I've been informed recently that it may be the case that the councils withhold your name.
So first of all, is it your local county council or city council that you...
Well, I can tell you what I did myself.
Please do.
I did myself. I telephoned the local county council to me, and I had a conversation with a nice man, and I explained to him that I would like him, I required him to remove my name from the register, and I required him to send me confirmation that was carried out. He did that, and I was of the opinion that I was deregistered then, but it's only just very recently that I've been informed that the councils may have withheld my name, unbeknownst to me. So I think that we need to get our heads together on that particular subject, because I don't think that myself and yourself and the rest of the people, I don't think that we can rely upon our abusers to help us. And I do refer to them as our abusers. They've overseen a lot of just scandalous decisions, so far. So I think we have to put our heads together, and we have to get out of this ourselves. I have ideas that I think might work, but I'm open to different ideas.
Why do you believe, or why, in your opinion, that the council maybe, I don't want to put words into your mouth, maybe on one hand you believed you were deregistered, but now you think that maybe you weren't. Why do you think that the council would do that? Or have you any thoughts on that? Or?
Power, I suppose. They have power. I mean, sure, nobody wants to relinquish power, I suppose, is it? That's why,
Yeah. Is there some way, if you now believe that you're not properly deregistered from the council, is there some way that you can could you explain that there, please?
No, I believe there is. I believe it's a simple matter of writing a private letter, is what I've been told now.
And can you explain to our listeners what is a private letter?
Yeah, well, a private letter is exactly that, but I'm not au fait on that subject yet, because it's just come as recent news to me that they may have withheld my name, so now I have to reinvestigate that and make sure that they haven't done so. But I've been told that a private letter is actually the correct way to do that.
Yeah. Is there something about the colour of the pen, or blue, or the black, or in the red for a living man, as something signing in red, or have you any thoughts on that? Or?
Yeah, but the private letter will be written in blue. Private letter will be written in blue.
And addressed, is it to the director, to the local, is it the chairman of the county council, or to the civil servant, or?
Yeah, it'll be to the man acting as the agent. It'll be to the man. It'll be from a man to a man. So yeah, no, there'll be no. You wouldn't write to a building, for example. You're not going to write a letter to the county council. That's bricks and mortar. You have to actually connect with a man or a woman, obviously. But yeah. So.
And you're hoping that I know you think that you've just come across this information recently, but you're hoping that if you do that, or that will unlock this, so that you will believe will be deregistered.
Yeah, but again, I just would be dubious of these people, because power corrupts, and they have the power. So, I'm going to be wary and dubious of them anyway. I think we need to get our heads together. I would urge for all the different group leaders to come sit around the table and let's hash this out. you know, because there's been too much time passed now, and the subject has been too taboo, you know, for so long. It's time to have it out, you know, in the open, so the people can decide for themselves, really and truly, you know, because at the end of the day, that's really all that matters, is the will and the wish of the people. But they have to be informed so that they can make an informed decision. So we've got to get the information to them. And yeah, I just urge all the group leaders, please come on, let's sit around the table and let's have a talk. And I'd like the conversation to be live, for and on the record, organic, 100%, transparent. We have to have transparency if we're going to build something. So
yeah. Now again, just so, in your opinion, what would be the benefits if a living man or Irish man or woman were deregistered? In your opinion, what would be either the immediate benefits for themselves, in their family, or and maybe future in their parish and their general?
yeah, I'll bring it right into your own head. The benefit initially is the knowledge and fact that you are not fueling this bankrupt basket case. You have removed your power, you have removed your consent, and that's a good thing. That's the first good thing, even because if you don't reach the 51% which you require to reverse the plebiscite that has enacted this heinous contract, just you, for your own, because at the end of the day, right, you've got the United States of America, you've got states here and there and everywhere around the world, but you've got your state of mind, and that's the only state that is important in this world, is your state of mind. And it will improve your state of mind to remove yourself from this diabolical nonsense situation that we've all been birthed into. So I don't know what to add.
Yeah. Now you mentioned the 1937 Constitution and a plebiscite. Can you explain to the listeners what is a plebiscite, or what is it, and what is different between a plebiscite and a referendum?
A referendum is a lawful procedure. A referendum is the tool required to, if you want to alter your constitution, for example. A plebiscite it's a vote by the plebs, is all it is. It doesn't alter a constitution, but it was used to enact the current 37 constitution. Plebiscites are lawfully reversible, and that's why I try to I try to encourage the people, you know, to realise that we have the power to not contract. We have the power to expand, I suppose. We can reverse plebiscite. That's within our power to do. I don't know of any other thing that we can do before that. You know, if you're locked into this contract, the terms and conditions are going to apply, and that's that. Yeah,
and you mentioned the 51%. Can you just explain what is this 51%, and if it's reached, what will happen?
It's the fact of the matter that the majority rule, in that it's the majority. It was a very small majority that actually enacted the 1937 in the first place. And it was enacted by an uneducated and a green nation, in fairness. I'm sure they didn't even know how to spell that word, much less they probably didn't know what it meant. But that's plebiscite, is what it is. It's just a vote from the plebs, it's a show of hands, and it is reversible. And as you know yourself, if you're going on a journey, if you miss your turn, you have to stop. You have to turn around and go back. So that's what we have to do. We've gone the wrong way here. We've gone down a legal road. The 1937 Constitution is a legal contract. It is written for a person, as you've said. A person is not a man or a woman. So it's a legal contract written for a person, and there are no morals in legal. So there's nothing we can work with here.
Yeah. Now again, if 51% of the living men and women of Ireland deregister, what actually happens? Does it go back to the 1922 state constitution?
It does by default. It does by default, yeah.
And what benefit would that be, or what difference would that make, or benefit to 1922? Is that not under the British Crown, or can you just explain that to the
Yes, it is under the British Crown. It's a Crown Constitution also. It's just that the 1922 Constitution, the people held power of referendum, but they never used it. They probably also didn't know the meaning of that word at that time. So they had power of referendum, they had a Bill of Absolute Non-Revocable Rights, and they also held power to sack rogue age this estate with no pension. So they're all good things to go back to. I myself, I think that we, the native people of this land, we've got to return a sense of unity. So I sort of have this, I have this desire, this want to abolish Irish water actually. And I see that a peaceful way for us to do it, and we have to do this because you can see that the government are not going to do it for us. So I'm saying if we peacefully and lawfully deregister en masse from the current contract, we return to the 1922 Constitution by default, and we use our power of referendum that we never used before to abolish Irish water. Because I believe that that will return our sense of unity, which is badly lacking at the moment. And once we abolish Irish water as our test run, well then I think that we can actually hold more referendums, as in to say, well, what direction do we want to go now? Do we want to return to the 1919 Constitution perhaps?
Yeah, that was because my next question again. The 1919 Constitution, as we know, a 32 county in December 1918, and then you had
It was a de jure constitution. It recognised that sovereignty comes from myself and yourself, and that is that's very important to me. It's my own personal, like I would, you know, if there was a referendum offered to return to the 1919 Constitution, which is backed by the proclamation, yeah, I'd be inclined to go with that.
Yeah.
But that's for the people to decide themselves, really.
Yeah, do you believe that the January the 21st, or how important in your opinion is January the 21st, 1919?
Well, it's your Independence Day. It should be a national holiday. I mean, the fact that it's not sort of should raise alarm bells in itself, shouldn't it? You know, it's something, I mean, to say such a small little nation, like to have such success against an empire, the biggest empire on the face of the planet, like, I mean, and then to just airbrush the whole event into history and try and pretend, you know, that we can just skip out this very important period of our history. You know, I'm proud of it, to be honest with you. You know, so
yeah, and just go back to the 1922. Can you tell me and tell the listeners, in your opinion, what happened, or your understanding, what happened on December the 6th last year, which was 2021? What was the significance of that date?
Yeah, that's a very special day. Their lease has run out.
Just for the listeners, what lease? Just for the listeners again.
Well, it's a 99-year lease from the day that it was enacted in 1922. I think there's footage there recently. A guy showed me where Michael Martin just actually acknowledges that it was started, that the Free State Constitution was started on the 6th of December 1922. So they had a 99-year lease, and that's up now. So
then, in your opinion, or in your understanding, so what actually happened on December the 6th, 2021? Where do we stand, in your opinion? There is some people suggest that we are actually a united Ireland again. We are a 32 county Ireland. Or have you any thoughts on that? That with this 99-year lease ran out.
All I know is, for a fact, and to just stay absolutely focused, the contract that's been used today is the Devil era contract. So that's the fact of the matter. That's what we have to deal with. That's what we have to address. We have been unwittingly contracting to a legal contract. So it's just to stay in my lane and to, you see, even asking me my opinion about what do I think about, you know, should we go to the 1922 or the 1919 or whatever, all that stuff to me is irrelative, because the fact is we're using this constitution at the moment, and this constitution is the one that's been used to abuse us legally. And people ask, you know, you maybe you wonder yourself, how come politicians are never locked up? You know, we've had Leo Varadkar leaking confidential documentation, and then they just move on to Troy, and then they move on to the next guy and the next scandal. Why is nobody ever held to account? And the reason is because the electorate are who is accountable. It's the electorate who are converting this fraud, and it is a fraud.
Yeah. Now just go back to the 51%. How would people actually know that 51% have deregistered?
Again, that's a great question, and I don't think that you can rely on your abusers to give you an honest answer there. But to me, that's also just an added reason to get the hell out of Dodge. You know, if you can't even trust the people to tell you when you reach your figure, so that's why I'm saying I think we have to do it ourselves. I have ideas about that, but I have to step outside my jurisdiction to talk about them because I use language that is foreign to me. You know, computer language, but. You have an IP address. I have an IP address. Our cameraman has an IP address. So I'm sort of thinking if you can't rely upon the councils to be honest with us, and I don't think we can, I think that we should create our own record, not a registry, because the register is to give. We want to move away from all weasel words, all legalese words. We want to turn our back on legal and we want to return to natural law. So I would suggest that perhaps if we could have a record of IP addresses attached to the names of the people who are refusing the offer of citizenship of Ireland Incorporated. So I would suggest that if we could have our own record of IP addresses with names attached, and if we could maybe put in our local newspapers, we'll put the information into the public that we have rescinded the contract. We'll do it ourselves. That's my idea. Maybe somebody else has a better way of doing that, or they can explain to me why that's not correct or whatever, you know. But that's why we need to get our heads together. You know, that's why we all need to sit down and figure this out.
Yeah, you talk about getting our heads together and getting the groups together.
Yeah.
So will you be making and giving you an opportunity, you know, maybe making a public, or just what different groups do you talk about? I don't mention names and all that, but just who do you really want to come together in maybe in openness and transparency and sit down and just say maybe people will bring different things to the table, maybe have different.
It's a cordial invitation to anybody who stands in public speaking to the public. Anybody who stands and speaks to the public should be interested in sitting around this table. That's what I think. And well, should we know who they are?
And you would be perfectly happy to go and meet people and talk people, and is there no preconditions? I just wanted the public record of what's the.
In actual fact, I suppose my job is almost done. My job is to raise the subject, is to get it into the public, and well then, like, I mean, who will speak? I'll speak. If I can help, I'll help. Of course I'm available. Of course I'm available for my fellow man, but I don't have to be one of the heads around the table as such. You know, I mean, there'd be more elegant speakers than me to sit in my chair. You know, so that's fine. You know.
And I know there's different groups out there. I presume you appreciate it. Certain people will be able to bring different things to the table. They will have certain knowledge. Mm-hmm. They will have maybe knowledge of life, knowledge of experience, maybe from their previous generations as well. So this is a kind of way. Did you want to be looking just for one leader? I want to work into your mouth. Is it just
not really looking for a leader at all? Because this is a movement that's already underway. It's moving too slowly because we can't get the people to come together and discuss the matter, you know. But the movement is on. Anybody that's after moving in this direction is not coming back. I can guarantee you that. We are not coming back. So the movement is on. There is no leaders. It's just the movement is going this way, so just come along with it. Like we don't have leaders. We don't need leaders. It's just a mass movement. It's a natural. It's a phenomena. It's like you know, man is a herd-like species. You know, we move as a herd. A big percentage of the herd is moving away now as we speak, and they're not coming back.
Yeah. My final question is, if we can get this, we'll call it, for the want of a better term, a round table of people coming together, and we can get national Irish men and women to move in this direction. In the future, looking down the road for our children or grandchildren, what era would you see, or what future would you see if we can come together in this and try and solve these issues?
I'm not green. I'm not naive. I don't suggest for a moment that you're going to arrive at nirvana by mass deregistration. You see, in life, it's a physical world that we live in. There's a left, so there has to be a right. There's an up, so obviously there's a down. There's a man, so of course there's a woman. There's equal and opposite to everything in a physical dimension. So that means that you have equal amount of good energy and equal amount of negative energy. And you can't change that. But what happens with the legal system that we have at the moment is you allow for imbalance in the positive and negative of life. You allow for the negative energy to be concentrated through 1%. And that makes for supervillains like Klaus Schwab and stuff. So what I'm saying is the deregistration is not going to do away with this negative energy. It's just going to rebalance everything. It's going to bring it back to a yin and yang situation where this negative energy is spread evenly, so it's controllable by the people. It always will be there. I mean, life itself, if you look at the battery in your car, it's a positive and negative terminal. If all the electrons flow from one side to the other, your battery's dead. So, like, I'm not green, I'm not naive. I'm not saying it's going to be a nirvana. I'm saying it's just going to balance the situation for us.
Okay, Murdoch, thank you very much for speaking to us today. I really enjoyed that, and I hope the message will go out there loud and clear and get people to come together, and please God will say we'll move forward for every national living man and woman of era.
Let's talk.
Great way to finish, Murdoch. Thank you very much.
Thank you.